this be one of the best moments of your life. You're listening to the Business Mirror Podcast for a broader look on business with Senior Editor Dennis Estopace.
Good day, I'm Dennis Estopace, and our topic for today is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The journalist behind the story on the Fourth Industrial Revolution is Business Mirror's Samuel Medinilla. For the text version, please go to www.businessmirror.com.ph and search for Fourth Industrial Revolution. Samuel Medinilla's story titled Jobs Under Fire, Old Work Types Burned, New Skills Rising was published in the Business Mirror's Broader Look section on January 24, 2019. Let's get on with the story. The so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution, or FIRE, has reduced old jobs to ashes while new work categories are rising like the phoenix. An official of the Department of Labor and Employment is saying there are signs within the domestic jobs market that the Fourth Industrial Revolution is now altering the labor landscape. Bureau of Local Employment Director Dominic Tutay told the Business Mirror that you would note some jobs are now obsolete or being replaced by new forms or types of jobs. The Asian Development Bank estimated that the Fourth Industrial Revolution started in the new millennium with the introduction of smartphones. New labor-saving technologies were also introduced later on. These include artificial intelligence or AI, robotics, 3D printing, nanotechnology, fully automated vehicles, and quantum computing. These technologies further integrated the digital and biological sphere of a workplace. This also gave birth to the popularization of non-standard forms of employment, like the so-called gig economy. The International Labor Organization defines gig economy as composed of labor platforms that make use of technology to connect workers with consumers for one-off tasks. Technology is also used to connect people to jobs that are completed either virtually or in person by an on-demand workforce. Among the services currently provided by the gig economy are driving, running errands, or cleaning houses. The changes caused by the Fourth Industrial Revolution in the workplace, which happened in just over a decade, have alarmed some international organizations. The World Economic Forum has estimated over 5 million jobs will be lost by the year 2020 because of these new technologies. The World Bank said about 2/3 of jobs worldwide are vulnerable to automation, although it added less than 20% of these jobs will disappear completely. The impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution in the workplace, however, differ per country relative to their policies and available technology. In the Philippines, the Department of Labor reported its first case in recent years of obsolescence in the labor market. This was in 2016. The Labor Department said jobs were destroyed due to the introduction of new technology and market demands. Around 7,000 workers in the semiconductor industry were affected by obsolescence that time. The Labor Department said it was later able to facilitate new employment for the affected workers. After that, the agency started to maintain a constant watch on similar cases. The banking industry is another vulnerable sector to the impending threat of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is according to the Federation of Free Workers Vice President Julius Cainglet. Cainglet told the Business Mirror that in the banking industry, check clearing within and across banks both here and abroad has tripled in speed, resulting in the displacement of bank departments in charge of check clearing. Due to the introduction of more automation in the check processing system, Cainglet said the Philippine Clearinghouse Corporation reduced its workforce from 76 to 25. As of January, Tutay said they have yet to confirm another instance of obsolescence. However, he said that segmentation of existing jobs to multiple specialized iterations in previous years has caused some of the unprepared workers to become unemployed. In the 2019 edition of the JobFits 2022 report, a significant portion of nearly 167,000 displaced workers from the years 2014 to 2017 could be attributed to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The Labor Department's BLE noted the retrenchment is focused on the manufacturing and the information technology business process outsourcing subsectors. These are industries that are already affected by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Over a third, or 58,390 of the displaced workers for the 4-year period were from the manufacturing subsector, particularly those engaged in computer, electronic, and optical products. They only made up less than 1% of the nearly 8 million workers in the industry sector as of 2018. However, they are slowly increasing by an average of 18.1% every year. Tutay noted that workers in the subsector are usually among the most pressured to continue upgrading their skills so they can catch up with the emerging technology. These technologies are constantly introduced by their management to cut costs and boost profits. Tutay said that there is always shifting skill sets in the subsector because of the type of the products they have to produce. Another third of the displacement cited in the Jobs Fit report were from the administrative and support service activities subsectors. This includes the IT/BPM sector, with nearly 43,000 retrenched workers or 0.8% of the 23.3 million workers in the service sector in 2018. Tutay explained that the IT/BPM sector is now moving away from basic voice call services. These services are now slowly being taken over by artificial intelligence and adoption of cloud technology. Workers unable to keep up with the shift in terms of skills are left displaced, according to Tutay. Tutay said they are anticipating displacement from the Fourth Industrial Revolution to continue to increase in the next 5 years.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the Business Mirror podcast. For a broader look on business with Senior Editor Dennis Estopase.
Incidentally, both the manufacturing and administrative subsectors were among the most heavily affected by the government's 3-year drive against illegal contractualization. While hailed by the government and labor groups for regularizing over 400,000 contractual workers during its current run, the campaign also led to displacement since some principals were unable to completely absorb their illegally contracted workers. The government campaign against illegal contractualization is considered novel since it directly challenged the norm for local companies of outsourcing certain portions of their operations. New policies such as Labor Department Order 174 and Executive Order 51 were implemented by the current administration to restrict the practice of contractualization in the country by further regulating job contractors amid rising pressure from organized labor union. Additional controls on contractualization were also put in place under the pending Security of Tenure Bill, as well as in Republic Act 11165 or the Telecommuting Law. The Labor Department said RA 11165 allows employers and workers to voluntarily engage in the new scheme of home-based employment. However, it must be on condition that there will be no diminution of benefits enjoyed later. This includes security of tenure. Outside of the Philippines, however, more companies continue to embrace contractualization, as shown by the growing popularity of the gig economy and offshoring, wherein company production is spread out to multiple countries. This was noted by University of the Philippines School of Economics professor Emmanuel Esguerra. In his presentation during a forum, Esguerra said that while the gig economy provides more flexibility to employers, it remains disadvantageous for workers. Esguerra said that among the pitfalls of the gig economy is the lack of a direct relationship between employer and an employee, which prevents the latter from accessing basic labor standards. Esguerra said during the forum that disadvantages include unemployment risk, lack of social protection cover, and absence of non-wage benefits and pension. Esguerra noted there are currently no official government estimates on the number of Filipino workers engaged in the gig economy. This leaves many of them excluded in many government policies. While the effects of the Fourth Industrial Revolution are already being felt, some organizations project it will take some time before the much-feared full impact comes to pass. The Asian Development Bank said new technology like robots remain expensive, which makes its use limited to only some subsectors. Currently, the ADB noted that industrial robots remain concentrated in capital incentive sectors, where employment shares are relatively small. The ADB said most of the companies using robots are in the electronics and automotive industry. The same goes for fully automated transportation, like ships and ports, as observed by the International Transport Workers Federation. Aside from being costlier than conventional transportation and facilities, ITF General Secretary Stephen Cotton said many countries still lack the necessary legislation and infrastructure for such innovation. We believe that at the moment, it is more of product placement strategy by the manufacturers to promote their goods, Cotton told the Business Mirror. Cotton made a statement when asked about the impact of Yara Birkeland, the so-called first ever fully automated ship sailing in the Norwegian coast. Cotton said he sees no imminent threat for labor when it comes to fully automated vehicles, although he is not discounting it might eventually happen in the future. Cotton said they had established a London-based team tasked to monitor the development of automation on all modes of transportation so that they could make the necessary preparations once it becomes widespread. The ADB said the Fourth Industrial Revolution is not without its advantages, especially for labor. It noted that new technological advances will boost labor productivity and generate demands leading to the creation of new jobs, which are more than enough to offset the expected displacement it will cause. ADB Chief Economist Yasuyuki Sawada said, "Technology leads to new occupations, but these tend to be non-routine cognitive category." The ADB said these non-routine and cognitive jobs, like managers and technical experts, also have the least chances of being replaced by new technology. In contrast, the ADB noted that routine and manual jobs like those in the plant assembly line and call centers are the most vulnerable to new technology. Citing the results of consultations, the Labor Department noted the growing number of new job demands from the industry, which are yet to be defined or regulated by the government. According to Tutay, in the past, the Commission on Higher Education would accomplish an average of 70 to 80 policies, standards, and guidelines for new courses. Currently, it is now more than 100. Tutay added this is also apparent in the latest Jobs Fit report, which showed that out of its listed 100 in-demand and hard-to-fill jobs, 17 are not even recognized under the Philippine Standards Occupation Classification, or PSOC. The PSOC, which is issued by the Philippine Statistics Authority, is a statistical classification of the different occupational groups of the working population, including the military in the country. 13 of the 17 jobs are considered emerging jobs, in-demand and hard-to-fill occupations, which did not exist in the labor market before. These include occupations which, if not self-explanatory, are already familiar to the public. These are electronic mail and chat support agent, mobile application developer, hair transplant technician, search engine optimization analyst, social media analyst, and transport network vehicle service providers. Some are the result of the growing specialization within the company's operations. Among these occupations are business process analysts, who are responsible for structuring large amounts of information within a process framework. There are also data scientists, who are responsible for creating machine learning-based tools. There are also design engineers, who are someone who creates the concept and design for the development and management project. There are also order trackers, or those who oversee the packaging and transfer of goods in an industry.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the Business Mirror podcast. For a broader look on business with Senior Editor Dennis Estopase.
The most unique of the new jobs are the evisceration processors, or those responsible for removing internal organs of processed carcasses. Another unique job is the genomicist, or those tasked to analyze DNA data with the help of computer software, and nanotechnologists, or those who manipulate matter on a nanoscale to develop materials, drugs, and diagnostic tools. The addition of these new jobs means more employment opportunities for job seekers. Tutay, however, said filling up these vacancies will pose a problem, since government education regulators like the Commission on Higher Education are still struggling to catch up with these job demands from the private sector. Tutay noted they should continue to fast-track the creation of the PSG to ensure more students or trainees will be able to apply for the said positions. What is needed is the timeliness in the issuance of their educational institution policy standards and guidelines, and the timeliness of the review of curriculum to meet new industry needs, according to Tutay. Currently, government intervention to address the problems caused by the Fourth Industrial Revolution involved giving the students, trainees, and even workers up-to-date labor market information so they could be guided on the courses or skills training they would have to get to be hired. According to Tutay, what is important is the willingness of the supply of labor to upgrade and retool, because the government has many tools to make the necessary adjustments in the labor market so they could fit in. Aside from the usual focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or the so-called STEM subjects, Tutay said equal priority must also be given to soft skills or behavioral skills. For its part, the International Labour Organization and the Asian Development Bank recommended an unemployment insurance mechanism to facilitate the smooth transition for workers who will be displaced because of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. In the Philippines, there is pending legislation enabling the social security system to provide financial aid to unemployed workers. However, the bill lacks any provision that will provide beneficiaries with an integrated employment facilitation and skills training to boost their chances to recover from their unemployment. Kainglet said this would provide a just transition to the affected workers. Kainglet said just transition measures look at employment security and, where applicable, reskilling and employment and job matching and placement. Just transition measures also look at the socio-economic impacts on the families of workers and the communities where they live, thus emphasizing the need for social protection, Kainglet added. The International Labour Organization fell short of making an official recommendation on how governments should successfully fund the transition programs for workers affected by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. But based on the results from stakeholders' consultations, among the options that were floated were taxing robots and other technologies or taxing carbon emissions. To help address these concerns, the PIDS conducted a scoping study on the growing impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution in the world of work to provide policy guidance to its stakeholders. PIDS President Celia Reyes told the Business Mirror that they are now realizing many of these FIRE technologies are already available in the Philippines, but few are aware of these new technologies and, more importantly, unaware of the possible impact of these disruptive technologies to many of the sectors. A forum organized by the PIDS in January determined how the Fourth Industrial Revolution is now affecting government policies. During the event, some of the presenters noted that some government policies, like regulations on ride-hailing apps and on data privacy, are slow to adapt to the changes posed by the Fourth Industrial Revolution due to the fast-changing technologies. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, who gave the closing remarks at the event, took note of the challenge. He said that government regulation must keep up with the developments in technology. Senator Gatchalian proposed government regulations related to the Fourth Industrial Revolution should be regularly reviewed to keep these up to date. According to the senator, 5 years for a reassessment is too long. Maybe we need a shorter period like 2 years. The government needs to respond as quickly as possible. We could incorporate it in a policy-making law, Senator Gatchalian said. The lawmaker noted that the lack of government policy on some technologies is preventing the country from tapping new technology on energy, like electric vehicles and peer-to-peer electricity trading. Because the government is responding slowly, our constituents are suffering from the slow response, Gatchalian said. Organized labor, meanwhile, recognizes the relevance of such intervention. However, they are demanding that the government come out with more direct policies to minimize the negative impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution to workers. Partido Manggagawa Chairman Renato Magtubo said that the Labor Department should issue an order that would ensure that before any automation or introduction of technology in the production process take place, a dialogue between the workers and employers should be held in order to address its impact on workers. Tan Husay, who is the spokesman of the Associated Labor Union of the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, said that what the tripartite stakeholders can do is to wield and regulate this emerging practice in employment and doing business. Cotton also made a similar remark, citing their experience in the ITF on the successful transition for workers in check-in desks with the introduction of check-in mobile application. Cotton said that is one simple model the union hasn't fought against but worked. Cotton said that similar successful transition relies on one simple rule: no automation without negotiation. Cotton said that the ITF genuinely believes that automation will see many tasks in a job automated, but we still believe the human element is vital, Cotton said. But, like it or not, the future of work is really and finally here.
Thank you for listening to the Business Mirror podcast. For a broader look on business, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Business Mirror. Until next time.